So, the first anime I'm going to recommend is Castlevania. Castlevania follows Trevor Belmont, the last disgraced heir of a legendary monster hunting clan, and this is after he's pulled back into action when Dracula declares war on humanity after the unjust execution of his human wife, Lisa, by a corrupt church. Dracula unleashes an army of night creatures to wipe out civilization, believing humans to be irredeemable, and this all happens while Trevor teams up with a powerful mage and also Dracula's half-human son, who opposes of his father's genocide. And throughout the series, it basically follows this trio as they travel through this brutal, decaying world. And they uncover a lot of things. For example, maybe Dracula wasn't really in the wrong. Over time, the conflict expands beyond simple good versus evil, exploring grief, free will, power, and cycles of violence. And as Dracula's generals pursue their own ambitions and humanity proves capable of both monstrous cruelty and genuine compassion, leading to a tragic, emotionally charged confrontation that reshapes the fate of both human and vampires. I remember when Castlevania first came out, and it had a lot of people wondering if this was the beginning of the end for traditional anime releasing in the West, because Castlevania and also Devilman Crybaby are Netflix originals. So not only are they Netflix originals, but they were made by American studios, meaning that this isn't technically an anime when you think about it, because it was made by a studio which is called Powerhouse, which is based out of Texas. But this studio is heavily, and I mean heavily, inspired by anime, to the point where if you did see this show and you didn't know what it was, you definitely would assume that it is an anime. And yes, Netflix has definitely gained footing in the anime space, but as of right now, I would say that Crunchyroll still is the monopoly. The next anime I'm going to recommend is Higurashi. In this series, a teenage boy seemingly moves into a peaceful village in Japan where he does become friends with this tight-knit group of girls. But he gradually discovers that this village that is seemingly peaceful is hiding some sort of very dark secret. Every year during this festival, people mysteriously die and disappear. And the more he stays in this village, the longer he becomes aware of these past incidents. So he begins to experience paranoia, distrust, and violence begins to consume both him and his friends, leading to brutal murders. And when I say brutal murders, that's basically what this anime is famous for, just so you know. Psychological breakdowns is something that also happens, and timelines that reset and repeat with different outcomes, revealing that this story is structured around multiple looping realities rather than a singular linear narrative. So ultimately you have this series shifting into a pure horror and showing that the cycle of violence can only be broken when the characters stop turning on each other. So this series actually came out way back in 2006, and then it actually had a continuation in 2020. So that's a big gap, 2006 to 2020. And if they're continuing a series in 2020 from 2006, you have to ask yourself, is it really that good that they had to continue it years later? And I'll let you guys decide that if you decide to watch it. And the more I think about this series, the more I realize that it has some of the more modern tropes that modern day horror has in Hollywood these days. Just think about it. You have the quiet town, you even have the children, or in this case like high school students, and then you have the murder mysteries that are happening and has to be solved. That's basically the plot of so many horror movies or TV shows these days. But this came out a while ago and it's interesting. The next anime I'm going to recommend is Campfire Cooking in Another World. This anime starts with an ordinary salaryman who is accidentally summoned to a fantasy world alongside a group of heroic teenagers. only to be dismissed as useless when his unique skill turns out to be online supermarket, which lets him order modern Japanese food and ingredients that appear in the fantasy world. Deciding not to work for the kingdom, he travels on his own and quickly discovers that cooking earth food with magical ingredients produces absurdly powerful effects, attracting the attention of a legendary wolf deity. So throughout this show, you have this very laid-back story with a comedic isekai focused on food, found family, and survival rather than battles with monsters and gods and stuff like that. To be honest, I actually avoided watching this anime for a pretty long time, and I was made aware of it for quite some time, but it just kinda seemed like another isekai slop to me. But I just kept on seeing it recommended, and the ratings are actually not that bad. People do enjoy it. So I had to check it out, and it's definitely not bad at all. If you like the slice of life comedy, especially isekai, then I do think you would like this, especially if you like animes like Delicious and Dungeon. This has a similar feel to it, and I did recommend the anime before, so if you did like Delicious and Dungeon, you would probably like this one as well. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, thanks for watching.
Lights are red and there's sweat on your